specific is talking about my experience as a child living in Palestine. And it's not only my experience, it's a collective experience of like the children that lived in Palestine at that time. With the occupation forces coming into Palestine and doing like a siege, you know, where like nobody was able to like leave, and we would well, thank you for having me. Well, thank you first for having me be part of this initiative, and thank you for having me to do this interview.
What was the year of your song release, and then what's the song title?
The song I think was released either 2019, 2020. The title was Noam, which is sleep in Arabic, like the word sleep in Arabic. The song had nothing to do with the actuality of sleep. It was more about the lack of rather than the actual sleep itself. So yeah, the song was released through World Peace in 2022, but it was a previous release.
What was the motivation behind the composition of the song?
If you really want to kind of like narrow it down to like a simple reason, it was just that this is the way I write. These are the topics that I try to address when writing music or when writing songs and stuff like that. So it's not necessarily that I wrote this specifically for a project or something, you know. If you look through my channel, most of my songs will be socio-political, kind of like from that terrain of addressing social problems, political problems, and whatnot. You know, knowing that I'm from the Middle East, Palestine, you know, a place of like multiple, numerous amounts of conflicts, you know. So
why did you decide to participate in Songs for Peace last year?
I heard about the initiative, you know, and it's something that literally aligns with my musical like message, the message that I'm trying to deliver as a musician, as an artist. So it was a no-brainer to kind of like be part of the initiative, especially that it really helped a lot that I know the people that are like heading the initiative, which actually kind of like gives me comfort to work with them, knowing their backgrounds and where they come from, you know. Especially that nowadays, like one needs to be like very careful with what they put themselves in and stuff like that. And being a Palestinian, also going back to being a Palestinian, that puts yet another layer of complications on who I work with and who I don't. So as I said, yeah, it was a no-brainer, you know, knowing the people, knowing the initiative, knowing what the initiative is about, you know. It's about world peace. What an amazing subject to be under, you know. So
what does your song tell the world?
When I decided that I'm gonna start writing songs, writing lyrics, you know, I've always knew that I'm not necessarily doing it to have fun with it, you know, not necessarily just doing it to like write whatever, something that rhymes, that sounds nice, you know. I knew that I had something like to say. I had something I feel like it is important. I don't know if it's really important or not, but I feel that is important to deliver to people, to say, to tell the people. But at the same time, I was always struggling with the idea of I never want to sound preachy. I never want to sound like someone who's preaching out to people, because we're all at fault. We're all kind of like nobody's perfect, you know. We all have like our faults and our started becoming less about me giving an opinion about things and more about me giving an experience of what I went through or what I know of people that went through and stuff like that. And given the like the podium or like the platform that I have as an artist, you know, it really helps. I've also kind of like struggled with the idea of like, wait, do I write songs about things that I've never been through just because I know that someone has been through them? And I've struggled so much with these ideas, like what do I write about, and what are the things that I could consider that things that I kind of, I don't want to say own, but like have been impacted by as personal experiences, and what are the things that are literally just experiences of the common experiences of the general people around you, you know. And it took me a little bit of time to kind of actually become at peace with the idea that yes, being an artist also puts some sort of a duty on you, At least that's how I think about it, you know, in delivering the voice of the voiceless, delivering the voice of the people that really don't necessarily have the time, the means, the whatnot to actually do that. And that's when actually kind of I was able to overcome that idea of what do I own and what do I experience and what have I experienced and what have I not. Um, and it got me to write these songs. You know, this song in specific is talking about um, my experience as a child living in Palestine. Um, and it's not only my experience; it's a collective experience of like the
Mhm.
children that lived in Palestine at that time. Um, with the occupation forces coming into Palestine and doing like a siege, you know, where like nobody was able to like leave, and we would literally wake up every night on like bombing sounds and stuff like that, you know.
Mm.
So that was the picture that I was trying to portray with this song. Generally,
Mhm.
it says, "Where are we gonna get our sleep when everything that we were raised around is lighting the night?" You know, I didn't want to necessarily talk about bombs and stuff like that. You know, it was
Mhm.
just like a depiction of what bombs do at night. You know, they
Yeah.
literally light the sky. You know, no
Mhm.
longer night. And that was like the picture that I kind of like grasped onto in this song and kind of like built the song around. You know, the not being able to sleep at night because the night is bright and lit all the time,
Mm.
and that's something very not natural, and that's something very not like it's just really counterintuitive, you know. And I took it from that position, took it from that perspective, you know, and laid down the song.
I'm from Japan. We haven't had any war inside of Japan for a long time, and I grew up post World War II with the parents with post World War II. My dad is from Hiroshima. For him, he followed American soldier because when Japan was poor, the soldiers would give them candy, chocolate. So he would follow soldier because they had treats. And so he has a good memory of American soldier. But yeah, I think your song is about how you grew up in a condition that you shouldn't be.
One experience that stays with me like till nowadays, like I every time I think about it, I can really picture what actually happened. You know, we were kids like when the Israeli forces like forced the siege in the West Bank. We were still kids. I was still like a kid, like 12, 13 years old, you know. As kids, that was no school. That was great time. That
Mm.
was, yeah, we're not going to school anymore. Let's go outside.
I see.
Let's go outside. Let's play football, you know. Streets are
Mm.
empty, no cars, you know. Take
Mm.
advantage of that. Make two goals, and we're playing football. We have our bikes, you know. We go pick the best spot in the whole neighborhood, you know, the most like straight and plain spot that doesn't give any advantage to any of the teams, you know.
Mhm.
Make things right, everything is right. And we're playing that one day, and all of a sudden my friend sees a tank that's like heading towards,
Wow.
you know, and he starts shouting, tank, 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 tank. So we all like literally like we all start running away from the tank.
Yeah.
Friend had his bike like away from like the so-called court that we made,
Mhm.
you know, away from the court, just like to the side. And he wanted to go run to the bike,
Mhm.
technically towards the tank,
Mm.
bring his bike and run away.
Yeah.
At some point, he realized that he won't catch the bike before the tank passes the bike.
Mm.
And the soldiers in the tank literally saw the kid running towards the bike. You
Mhm.
know, so when they saw the kid running towards the bike, they literally turned the tank to go over the bike, destroy the whole bike, and just move back, move, like keep going after that. One of like the most kind of like horrific experiences. Well, thank God nobody died. You know, they didn't like
Mm.
go over a person. You know, and that those things kind of like stay with you. They don't necessarily leave your mind. You know, these are
Mm.
like personal experiences. You know, and then you hear other stories from other people. You know, I have a friend who technically after he became 12, he barely saw his father. His father spent spent it all in jail, in Israeli jail, of course, like Israeli political jail. That's not like, that doesn't mean he's a criminal in any way.
Right.
That just means that he's a political prisoner.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I remember that, like trying to put myself in this person's place. He's my best friend. Like, I know him very well. Our families know each other. You know, my mom knows his mom. All of that. Like, and yeah, I started realizing how much like anger that would put in
Mm-hmm.
me. You know, not being able to see my father for, except for like a couple of days on in a span of like 8 to 9 years. You know, that's not
Wow.
normal in any way, and that's not fine in any way. So those are the things, those are the experiences, or the that I kind of like tried to pull from. And
Mm-hmm.
nobody's telling you what to do, nobody's asking you to do something, nobody's
Yeah.
telling you I'm better than you because I know this and you don't, you know.
Mm-hmm.
None
Yep.
of that. It's all about,
Mm-hmm.
well, check this out, this is what happened with me, what do you
Exactly. That's the most powerful story you can give.
Yep,
Yeah.
and it became a thing for my writing, you know, for my music in general, that I never
Mm.
put my opinion in things.
Mm.
You know, I don't want to. My opinion is not important. It's really not
Mm.
important. What's important is my experience and
Mm-hmm.
other people's experience I'm talking about. You know, this in itself is powerful enough to put you in a situation to think, be like, whoa, what is that? What does that mean? What did he mean when he said that? As
Mm-hmm.
opposed to feeling that condescension from somebody who's preaching
Yeah.
towards you, you know.
Mm-hmm. Did you have any feedback, any positive feedback?
It was great to hear the other participants'
Yeah.
opinions in the song.
Mm-hmm.
You know? It was also a chance for me, because I don't necessarily usually do that, but it was also a chance for me to kind of translate that song, translate the idea of the song.
Right.
And that's something pretty nice, you know, to be able to work on something that actually translates, that actually delivers a message in multiple languages. That for me was a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
That my art, my work can actually be transformed into some other language, some other.
Right.
And I've got some feedback from people that heard it through the website, people that I
Mm.
really don't know. They just like decided to follow me, and which was great. I feel like Songs for World Peace is still like a small project, you know. It could definitely
Yeah.
become like this huge thing, you know, where like so we're not necessarily I'm not expecting like order out of it, you know, like millions of people to come down to my page. None of that.
One day, one day.
Yeah, hopefully one day. But like the
Yeah.
very interesting thing about that is that unfortunately not many people are are interested in real things,
Yes.
in things that are meaningful, in things that
Mm-hmm.
actually, like, you guys are like working on a message, you know,
Yeah.
world peace, you know.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a simple subject, you know. And this is
Yes.
not a subject that you, this is not the weather, kind of, let's put it this way,
Yeah.
because the
Yeah.
weather here is the subject that you can literally talk to anybody on the street to find them. This is not the weather, you know.
That's
This
right.
is, an idea that has weight,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and people don't necessarily like to bear that, you know. So to
Right.
find people that are still able and willing
Mm.
to participate and to listen, and to be perceptive to new ideas and new um, thoughts, that's always amazing.
Mm.
That
I
always
see.
warms the heart. I did a show in Boston. It was like a hip hop show, so I did like my songs and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
The last song I sang was Noam, actually, and
Mm.
before I sang that, I kind of I talked about it and how it was actually picked to participate in Songs for World Peace
Yeah.
and all of that. And that got like a standing ovation. So that was
Mm.
like a standing ovation from like a 300, 400 people audience. That was amazing, you know. And
That's nice.
to have people listen to the song and understand it. Most of the audience was Arab, you know, so we
Mm.
were able to kind of like receive the message like firsthand, you know. I almost teared on stage, you know, and that,
Mm.
like, especially given that was my first kind of, not first performance, but like first Ärkitekt performance, first hip hop
Oh,
performance.
I see.
Yeah, first performance of me the main artist, the main person, the you know, and
Mm,
that was a great thing, you know, to know that
mm,
people were there to actually listen and hear what I had to say, you know, that was amazing.
mm. That's great.
Then I pretty much did kind of the same show in Houston in the Houston Palestinian Festival.
Oh,
Yes, and that was a blast because I mean, it's a Houston Palestinian Festival, you know, like all the Palestinian, not necessarily only Palestinian, but like all the Arab community, especially
mm-hmm,
the Palestinian community is there, you know, and Texas has one of the biggest like Arab communities. So
mm-hmm.
that was fun, you know, and being able to kind of like really again play my music to some people that would understand it firsthand, you
Right.
know, that's
Mm-hmm.
always a plus, you know, to have. Um,
Wow.
so that was like they all were amazing, uh, like amazing experiences. You know, I can't like that made me fall in love back with performing live. You know,
Right.
at some
Mm-hmm.
point with my especially with my field, you know, engineering and whatnot. You know, you realize that like it's okay for me to take a back seat. You know, go behind
Yeah.
the twisty knobs. You know, and stay there, you know, and it's
Yeah.
comfortable there, you know, it's comfortable. You do your thing, nobody knows about it, you do the
Mm-hmm.
thing, you know, that's it, it's comfortable. But yeah, at some point I realized that like, wait, I might have something to say and I don't want to be in the back seat anymore, you
Right.
know.
Right.
Being in the front seat, being the main person just kind of like instilled some other new ideas and and new thoughts in me, you know. So
Mm,
so I'm always kind of like thankful to that
mm,
that I was able to do. You know. With regards to my family, I'm always very happy to have a family that supports what I'm doing.
mm-hmm.
You know, that for me is more than enough. Like I don't need anything else from them. You know, as long as they support what I'm doing,
Mm.
um, which is not a very well known thing from where I come from. You know, like
Yeah.
music, doing
Mm,
music. You know, it's not like the norm. You know, so so yeah, all the support that I get from them is more than enough.
What are the challenges for you to be involved in social change or to think about peace as an artist? And then how could Songs for the Peace help you?
I can kind of like point out two, let's call them problems, if we may. You know, the
Yeah.
first one is the outreach. You know, which is something that we both should work on. You know, in terms of like um, as a program in general. This is how Songs for World Peace can help us as artists.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with the outreach and being able to kind of like um, find a way to kind of bring people's attention to
Yeah.
this important thing, you know, which is not easy. We've talked already about how like people are not interested in important things anymore, you know. I remember the first thing that my father told me once I got to college is don't have anything to do with politics, you know. As I don't know if you know this, but like as Palestinians, you know, when we get to the college level, you know, it's the about that time where you kind of like get involved in like not necessarily like politics, but like small politics. You start getting introduced to the idea,
Yeah.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
of like parties and politics and all of that, and like the different parties and the different ideologies and all of that. You know, his first message, his only message to me going to college was like, just don't do any of that. We've
Mm.
all tried it, and it just gets you nowhere.
Mm.
So this is the kind of like the mindset of people that have gone through that for a while and came on to the other side of it, you know. They're
Mm.
like it's kind of useless, and in my opinion, I don't think they really think it's useless. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I just think that they think it's safer not to do it.
Yeah.
You know, it's not
Mm-hmm.
useless. There's nothing useless, but it's just, you know, less headache if you don't do it. You know,
Yeah.
you put yourself in so many things that you don't necessarily want. And that's one of the problems that like I always face with my art, not necessarily only with the songs I submit for Songs for World Peace, you know, with my art in general. What am I writing
Mm-hmm.
about? Is it okay to write about this thing? Is it not? So those are the difficulties I'm facing, you know. Hopefully won't they won't affect my like activity with Songs for World Peace. Like I don't want in any way for them to affect my activities. I'm the type of person that like I'll deal with the precautions when they come. You know, I don't necessarily think of the
Same.
precautions before beforehand. You know, so so yeah, that's in general what I think.
What will be a potential impact you and your music could make to the world?
Thinking about controversial subjects.
Mm,
You know,
yeah.
I think with the upbringing of social media and stuff like that, we think that we started becoming more open to the world, where actually we actually started becoming much more closed. And the reason is because I think like what social media does, it actually kind of like surrounds you with all the people that think the same.
Hmm.
It doesn't really surround you with people with different thought processes and ideas. You know, if you don't
Yeah.
like someone, you just block them. If you don't like what they posted, you just block them. Gone. I don't have to deal with it anymore. You know, so as much as people think this is a place where people get introduced to the world, it's not really. It's just really a place where people can form smaller and smaller circles.
Mm,
You know, and um, my hope for my music is to be able to break this idea, to be able to make people think for themselves, think about controversial things, because
mm,
having an opinion about these things is not a crime. You can discuss your opinion with others, learn and teach and all of that. You know, it's like having an opinion about things was never wrong. And it's sad that having a strong opinion about things nowadays is looked upon as aggressive, insensitive, or I can think of 1,000 words that can be thrown at someone who has a strong opinion about something that, you know. So I'm just like hoping that my music or my art in general could actually move something towards that change.
mm. Would you say that's your goal as an artist?
Actually, no. My goal as an artist personally is to stay true to my art. I don't want to be impacted or affected by anything that happened, that anyone or anything that like is trying to impact my work. You know, I want my work to be true to what I feel, to what I sense in that moment. You know, when a song comes out, like it comes out from a visceral place. It doesn't really come out from a planning. I'm trying to write a hit. I never approach things this way. You know, I never approach things as like I'm trying to write a song that will get 200,000 likes. None of that. You know, most of my songs are like heard like 500 times or 800 times, maybe maximum like 15,000 times. You know, um, and I'm very happy with this like very condensed yet quality
Hmm.
audience that I have. Hoping it'll get better and it'll attract more people that are this quality of listeners. Because for me, it's very important that the quality of listeners um, is not in any way under the quality of the music
Hmm. Yeah.
that is being produced. Not to say that listeners are stupid or anything. It's just that like the quality of the listener. I mean by when you listen to my music, what are the things that are being provoked in you?
Hmm.
Some people just listen to the music, oh, nice beat, cool. You know, and some other people listen to the music and listen to the same song 5 and 6 times trying to understand what was the artist thinking about. This is the
Yep.
way I listen to music.
Hmm.
This is the
Hmm.
way I would like people to listen to music.
Yeah. That's your people. Hmm. But imagine like people say like all this streaming traffic nowadays, but think about the number of people in a room.
Mhm.
500 people in a room, that's a big venue. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's a big number. Anything you would like to promote?
Ärkitekt is going through changes right now. At some point, and with the help of my partner, I realized that I'm not utilizing all of my musical skills and musical tools in
Mm,
my hip hop like direction, you know. So I'm starting to kind of like think of something that is a little bit wider in terms of
mm,
the type of music, the skills that I use, and all of that. You know, I haven't used like I probably used the oud in my hip hop like 5 6 times. You know, I want to be able to do that more. Uh, um, so I'm starting to think of like some sort of a looping project.
mm,
You know, where like um, it'll open the door for collaborations with other artists, other musicians. You know, to come and do a live session of looping and vocals and all of that. You know, it's just like gonna be a whole experience. I'm thinking further, you know, just like even further and further, you know, that I kind of want it to be like, this is the full kind of formed idea. Kind of want it to be like a full experience show, you know, a show that like you come to and it actually provokes, I don't want to say all your senses, but most of your senses, you know, like a visual, audible, a whole experience, you know, a sensory, visual, audible experience, you know, and that's what I'm kind of like working with right now, trying to like put the dots on the letters, you know, and figure out like all of these like small kind of details around that. As a start, I'm collaborating with an amazing artist, a friend of mine, a great friend of mine, and a cellist, Lizzie Cook. The reason for this collaboration is, first, I love the cello. It's kind of like my favorite instrument, and this person I just like felt a musical connection with them as a person, you know. So that was kind of like important for me to point out that this is the collaboration I want to work on. Please keep up with my social media stuff. Amazing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
تتحرك المجرة واحنا بأول المشوار، لسه بنحكي الهم بكرة وليش تعذر المسار، رايحين وين